Morning, guys. Yeah, we've got the sports section. Of course, in the sports section, we speak to people of Paarl and Wellington doing amazing things and standing on podiums. And one of those guys today is HB Kruger. So HB Kruger caught my attention. He took part in the Cape Town Cycle Tour. He came third. And then I also saw he had a short stint on the Cape Epic, the Absa Cape Epic. But there was an article recently that he's been claimed the most versatile pro cyclist currently in South Africa. And that's because previously he was on road biking and today he's on mountain biking and he's bringing in the trophies. He's also currently a cyclist for the Valley Electrical Titan Racing. And like in all the other interviews we have with these single sports people, sponsors is a massive thing. So good morning, HB, how are you?
Yeah, good. Good morning, Myles. Thanks for having me. It's lovely being here.
And
doing well.
So I have a question. So in 2015, there was a breakthrough year and you were doing all the accolades and you were on the podium and you were getting so many awards. And this year, you came third in the third in the Cape Town Cycle Tour and you also got engaged. So which year is the most special one?
Well, I would say definitely I think this year has been quite a phenomenal year. Considering after COVID, for all sports people, it was quite a difficult stint. I think there was a couple of times where I was thinking, I need to hang up my wheels, but I pushed through and after every drought there's always going to be some rainfall. And I think that came through for me this year. And so far it's been a successful year, especially getting engaged this past weekend was one of the highlights. Yeah,
well, before we go with the present, bit of the past. So, you started cycling at school, and then, 2015 was the breakthrough year. So, what age did we start cycling, and where did we come from there?
Well, from the beginning, I would say I started cycling at the age of about 14.
Okay.
Got introduced to the sport through a friend. It was a typical sleepover and his dad invited me to come ride with him the one day in the mountains there in the Magaliesberg. Okay. And off we went on the mountain bike and then they said, well, tomorrow we're doing a race, why don't you just come with and see how it goes. And it was one of the provincial championships that weekend in Gauteng, and so it was my first race, my second ride on a proper mountain bike. And eventually I think I finished 5th or 6th.
Okay.
And they said, well, yes, you've got some talent, so you can come ride with us whenever you want. And I think from there, the bug bit a little bit.
Yeah.
So during my school years, I still did athletics and played rugby and sort of tried to do a bit of everything because I didn't really know what I liked. So I thought, try it all. Eventually, you'll figure out what you like and what you don't like. And eventually, it funneled down to cycling. Since then, I haven't been off the bike except when I have an injury or when I'm sick.
Yeah, because I also read that you practice in a week. I think it was between 25 and 40 hours a week. It's like a working week.
Yeah, I mean it's the same as a day job, and it's also not always only the training hours you put in. It's your diet, your lifestyle, stretching, gymming, some off the bike, different type of exercises you need to do and implement. So it's more, I would say, it's definitely a lifestyle change and not just going to work for 2-3 hours on your bike and then you're done, because it doesn't stop there.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me, we're cycling at school, we finish school, we're still cycling. What's the one, let's say the trophy or the tournament you won that you really thought, okay, this is now cycling, that's my lever?
I would say there was a couple. After school, my first pro team actually I signed with Team Bonitas. And when I signed that contract back then, it was actually Malcolm Lange who was running the Shift Academy.
Oh, nice.
It was his team when he was still living up in Joburg. So I thought, okay, now I'm stepping it up into the real game now. When I signed that first contract, I thought, okay, no, cool, this is it. I need to commit now, and it's all or nothing now. So I think that was sort of a deciding factor into focusing fully 100% on my riding.
Yeah, because I saw some of your accolades last night, and like all the other years, you had 3, 4, but in 2015 you came in with a bang, and you you cleaned everything, African Championships, both, and all the different, all the different tournaments. What happened in 2015? Was it just your year?
That was my year. It was massive. I came out of 2014 on quite a high, where I won a couple of races when I did a stint in France, because I raced for an amateur team over there.
Cool.
And lived there for about 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
And I came back, finished the year on quite a high with a couple of good results. And then 2015, I think I was chosen for the national team probably about 6 times.
Jeez.
So we traveled to Gabon, Rwanda, Congo for African champs, African continental champs in Pietermaritzburg. I went to London with Nolan Hoffman on the track. We had a couple of UCI races in KwaZulu-Natal where I finished on the podium. Out of the 3 races we had, I was on the podium with every race. So that was really one of a really good year. I think also that year I had the most UCI points. I was one of the highest ranked South Africans in the country in the African continent.
Yeah.
So that was a really good year for me. And it was definitely one of the highlight years.
So 2015 comes, and now in 2022, how's life been for the past 7 years since that high?
It's been up and down, like with every sports person. After 2015, I decided to focus a little bit more on mountain biking, on the marathon racing. Just purely because there was quite a lot of mountain biking was sort of evolving into the bigger sport with a lot more racing and a bit more opportunities. And I signed with Team Telkom. Since then until now, I've done 5 Absa Cape Epics.
Yeah, how was that experience this year? You didn't finish because you had a partner, something.
I did finish as a solo,
single,
as a solo participant. Unfortunately, my partner got a bit ill after day 3, so then he called it quits, and I soldiered on my own to sort of tick that 5th epic off.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to do that. But I think that's one race where I still have a bit of unfinished business to go claim the African jersey.
So let's talk about mental strength in cycling. Of course, like you said now, last year you felt you had to put up your boots because it was just getting a bit tough. How do you remain positive? Because it's a single sport, there's much more pressure. And I think the last guest we also chatted to, I think it's because you're doing it by yourself, it's almost like self-inflicted pressure that you put so much because you have high standards and you have to remain on top all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I think it definitely in individual sports it makes a lot, well, I wouldn't say a lot more difficult because I haven't been in a team sports environment, but there's a lot of pressure on yourself because especially if we can take an example coming from I had in 2015, every year is not going to be like that. And so you're coming off that high, so you set yourself that standard. And now when you're not on that standard, it's a really tough thing to sort of stay at that level and stay driven and motivated to get back to that level because that's what you're used to. So it's all about, I think, your support structure which you have around you, your people that's with you, and around your friends, family that sort of need to step in and motivate you and also remind you that it's not always just about the results. Unfortunately, you're not always going to get the results. I think any professional sports person who's the best in the world has probably lost a lot more events than they've won.
Yeah, 100%.
So sometimes you just need to sort of step back and look at the bigger picture and maybe just reset a bit and then try and refresh your mind and go in with a fresh mentality.
Yeah, and I think it probably makes your life a bit easier because your fiancé is also a pro cyclist and you guys are cycling together. You probably go through the same thoughts all the time, so it must be much easier.
Yeah, that definitely helps. I mean, it helps having a person that's doing the same sport as you and sort of as a similar understanding because we can accommodate each other when times get tough and when times are good.
Yeah, so what's 2022 looking like? So you finished, you came 3rd in the Cape Town Cycle Tour, the ABSA, you finished on a solo. What did you do this weekend? The previous weekend?
The last race was the ABSA Cape Epic. We had, beginning of the year, we had the M&G.
Yes. That's when we also won the podium. That was also pretty cool.
And also Paul Boxing Day, end of last year, I finished 2nd. So, The rest of 2022, we've got a couple of stage races coming up on
Cool.
the mountain bike, which we'll be focusing on. It's all over the country. So the next one is Sani to Sea, which is in Natal.
Yeah.
And then also South African National Marathon Champs, which would also be in Kaakloof in Natal, which is quite a big goal. And then towards the end of the year, more on the road would be the Ride Joburg. There's a couple of events here in the Western Cape that we'll focus on. So it's luckily it's sort of a normal year again so far. So it looks like
things are getting back to normal.
Yeah, sort of.
So as a Pretoria boy, why did we pick Paul?
Well, it's mainly because of the fiance now at the moment. And
okay, chasing love.
Yeah, so I took that decision in 2015, 2016.
Right.
And yeah, so far it's been good. I mean,
you don't want to run for the hills yet.
Yeah, so that helped as well. But I mean, since I've been living here, when I started focusing a bit more on the mountain biking, riding in Paul Mountain, I've probably ridden up here 300 times with my mountain bike.
Yeah.
So I don't think I made a wrong decision. The training grounds we have here, it's you can't compare it to anything else in the country.
Man.
So we are super fortunate to have this town and the infrastructure right here on our doorstep.
Yeah. No, I'm also super excited about it and all the different trails happening in the adjacent cities. The other question I wanted to ask you is, so you are in the town hall and it's Stadsaal in Ipero, and you've got the HB Kruger day, and I mean, you've got a lot of young cyclists in front of you, and you've been a professional, you've been through you've been on various podiums, ups and downs. And of course, a lot of youngsters, especially in Paul, they're aspiring cyclists and they've got these big dreams. Probably just like, what are the 3 lessons for them? I mean, give them some advice that they leave the town hall thinking, okay, this is how we're going to change, this is how we're going to reach the dreams.
Well, I would say firstly, set yourself a goal. And then in cycling, you need to be patient.
Yeah.
Because I think with the mentality we all South Africans have or goes through is like, we want stuff now. And, you know, if you don't get it this week in this race, you didn't win it, you sort of set back. But, just step back, look at the bigger picture. If something doesn't go your way, refocus, refresh, there's always going to be a next race. So just focus on that and be patient. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Okay.
You're not going to get to the level of Chris Froome in
of course.
Year. So take it step by step and set yourself small incremental goals to get to the big goal.
All right. Okay, 3 last questions. You've had a billboard up on the main road and your face is there with a speech bubble. What are you telling the world?
Sure, it's a difficult one. Put me on the spot here.
Yeah. No, I think especially as cyclists, how do you keep inspired? How do you keep your motivation going? Because it's a single cycle sport. What are you telling yourself in your head? HB, get out of bed at 5 a.m. and go travel 200 kilometers.
Go ride.
Yeah, go ride.
I would say, just do it. Especially, I'm not a morning person, so I struggle to get out of bed. So
but thank you. You look fresh this morning.
So I would say just don't think about it too much. If you want to go do something, do it. If it doesn't work, then it didn't work. At least you know now. You don't sit with that regret. 100%.
And then if you had 3 people at your table for dinner, who would those 3 people be? They could be dead or alive.
Sure. Sure. That's also a tough question. I would say
just 3. I mean, like 7 billion people on the planet.
Nelson Mandela.
Nice.
Elon Musk.
Nice.
And I would say a sports person someone like Chris Froome. Yeah, he's always an interesting character.
Yeah.
I think their personalities would click quite well as well, so it would be a cool conversation.
And the last question is, how do you stay motivated?
Well, I set myself these goals for the events during the year.
Okay.
And also, I think I put a bit of pressure on myself as well, because that sort of, sometimes pressure is not always bad. We are fortunate enough to have a couple of sponsors on our side, and they also expect some return. So for me, it's always quite motivating knowing that I can keep them happy as well, because they're involved in a sport that I love. And so many other people participate in. So I always sort of think of it in that way. I'm not just getting a result for myself, but also
Yeah.
for the people in my team and the sponsors and people that support us.
Yeah, and I must say, in cycling, sponsors are massive. Like you really, all different variety of companies, different industries.
So,
really cool.
It's I mean, we've seen over the years how it's grown and how it's developed. And I mean, during COVID, there's been such a boom in the cycling industry in general because people weren't allowed to go to gyms and that type of stuff. So they went outdoors, which has been in that way very positive and I think opened up the door for a lot more people entering the sport as well.
Yeah. Dude, thanks so much, man. I know you're not a morning person, but I appreciate your time this morning. And good luck for 2022. It's the big year. And then also congratulations on the engagement. I don't know, I think I said it, big step in the life of a man to be engaged. Yeah, guys, so HB Kruger, where can they get hold of you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram at HB Kruger. HB Kruger Athlete, my Facebook page.
All right. Yeah. Cool, man. HB Kruger, guys, the most versatile pro cyclist currently in SA. Yeah, follow him on Facebook and Insta. I'm following him on Insta. He's got, I don't know if he does more content on Insta than cycle because he's always busy on Insta. So yeah, HB Kruger, thanks for joining. Thanks, guys.